It's pretty big. It's been a while since I've reviewed any sort of TV. Nick, you want to hold that side of the box? It's been a while since I've reviewed any sort of TV on this channel, but it's time for me to replace my bedroom TV. I'm just not happy with it, but I have done quite a few different reviews with LG over the years. I'm kind of excited about this one because today we are taking a look at the 75 QNED85. So I want to give a huge thank you to LG for sending us the 75 QNED85 mini LED TV to take a look at today. So this is a 4K TV, but what makes it kind of new and interesting and exciting, one, this is going to be going into my master bedroom. I'm getting rid of the TV that's in there. I absolutely hate that TV. I won't talk about what kind of TV that is because it's kind of subjective, but I'll tell you that one of the things I absolutely love most about LG, and I'm going to sound like a complete LG fanboy here, is the WebOS built into it. I absolutely love the OS in LG TVs. This will be my fourth LG TV in my home at the same time, so I'm really excited about that. But this is gonna be my first time checking out their Quantum Dot NanoCell Plus Mini LED TV. Because they're mini LEDs, just like a mini LED monitor, it's gonna give you a massive amount of local dimming zones, it's gonna give you an extremely better contrast than a standard backlight TV, and it's gonna give you deeper, richer colors because of the NanoCell layer on top of the Quantum Dot layer with the mini LED backlighting. So it's pretty exciting. This is a 75-inch model. One of the other things too that I was even willing to do a video about this is the fact that one of the most common things that I hear people say when I talk about large format gaming monitors for computers is you should really just be checking out certain TVs now. TVs have gotten so much better at being computer monitors. Back in the day, if you could even get, like this is a 4K TV, if you could even get a 4K TV that could go higher than 30 FPS, that was like, I mean, a 60 FPS was like groundbreaking for 4K TVs for the longest time. If you could get one that didn't have terrible input lag. Input lag was a massive problem with TVs because the amount of processing that takes place to the image, it creates a lot of latency. At least older TVs created a lot of latency when it came to that image being drawn versus your inputs. That's not the case anymore, specifically because of the new A7 Gen 5 processor. So yes, your TV is now a computer. And it has a computer inside of it that has to handle all of these tasks and processing that I just talked about. They're extremely fast now. And this TV is capable of 4K 120. So I'm excited to kind of get inside and take a look at it. But first I've got to get this thing unboxed. So the bag of accessories on the top here is going to contain our remote control, our safety information, our warranty information. Is this the same remote control that I'm used to? Let's see. A little bit different, but similar. Yeah, pretty much exactly this, well, almost exactly the same. I love that it has the quick buttons on the front. So like I have kids that normally it's not too bad. You push the little house button, which takes you home and then you can go to the app that you want, but having the quick shortcuts for the apps, especially things like Disney Plus and Prime Video and all your Google Assistant and Alexa stuff here, that's all on here, which is nice because my kids use that all the time. And what was actually really awesome about the remote control on our other LG TVs is the fact that it has the microphone button that you can push and talk into it. So my daughter, who before she was old enough to be able to write and read, she'd just be like, watch Disney Plus. And then it would go to Disney Plus because she could push the button and talk to the remote. So that's one of the things I love about LG is it's not just a viewing experience, which it is a great viewing experience. The interaction part of the TV, the WebOS, it's just so good. Anyway, fanboyisms aside, here is the feet. Now, this does have VESA mount, of course, and mine will be mounted on a mount on a wall. But the feet, I love that they're just so low profile because low footprint. You don't have this big old giant base thing, which is really nice. So you got two of these that mounted to the back. In fact, before I put this feet on, I want to show you guys a couple of things. Obviously, we have a 90-degree power adapter. That way, if you're mounting it on a base mount on a wall or something, or a flush mount, there's plenty of room for your plug. It does not remove from the back of the TV. It does not have like a Mickey Mouse plug or a two-prong plug. It is stuck in there permanently. But check this out. This is a 75-inch TV, which means from corner to corner diagonally. We have two different mounting locations. So I thought it was only gonna have these on the very extreme end of the TV. However, if you have a narrower console, then they have this narrower position right here. So you could have it be right here. That little latch goes in, goes down, those two screws sit there. So you can have this narrow position here for those that don't have big consoles for the TV. It's still plenty of supported, right? And then if you have a big TV console to put, if you're using the feet, you can mount it here on the outsides. I just thought that that was actually pretty brilliant to have it have multiple locations to be able to use this foot. That way it's most compatible with whatever TV stand you're using. And then let's not forget, even though you can't see the back, this brushed metal cover on the TV, this gunmetal. Before I stand it up, two other things that are included in the back. This is awesome. These are cable tie downs. So you've got two of them, and you've got a location right here that you can put one. So this is for, being able to keep your HDMI cables, maybe your soundbar cables or optical cables tidy. And then one over here on the side, like that. That is actually pretty awesome. Get in there, there we go. That's pretty cool. Before we get on to the picture quality, we need to get into the usability, right? You have to interact with the TV, and that's one of the things I hate about my current TV. Go and power it up. Its very first startup here, it's gonna kind of go through and boot up, but it does have a quick startup mode where basically it doesn't shut down entirely. It goes into sort of a low power usage sleep mode. That way it turns back on quickly when you're ready to watch TV. If you ever need to power cycle it or something, you just long press the power button for, I think it's like 10 or 15 seconds. It restarts the system entirely. But right here, it's going through the WebOS first boot. So the first time it takes a little bit longer, but once it goes into that low power usage sleep state, it pops right on instantly once you turn power. So now we're gonna go through the initial setup here. I have to push the OK button, which is basically this little wheel right here. It's not just a wheel that scrolls up and down, it also clicks. Now the Magic Remote is pretty awesome. It's not on the screen right now, but it basically has an icon that you'll be able to point around and click with this button that I just used to control stuff on the TV. So instead of having to use the D-pad, you can literally just point and click with the Magic Remote, which is pretty awesome. So check this out. One of the things I love about it, it's already off the screen, is it is a true 5 gigahertz wireless dongle inside of this TV built in. It's not like some separate USB plug thing you have to use. You can hook it up via Ethernet. It's gonna be Ethernet in my home. See, there's the Magic Remote thing. Whee! Like my kids would just sit there and like, you can play games with it. There's games on the TV with WebOS that you can use this for. Anyway, 5 gigahertz is nice, especially if you have a decent close range to your wireless router, because of the fact that when you're dealing with streaming content, especially 4K streaming content, it takes less time to buffer. It can buffer farther ahead. You get less interruptions if you have any internet dropouts or anything like that. So it's such a step up from older smart TVs that were locked into the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. The 5 gigahertz, it's game changing when it comes to streaming smart content and 4K content on your TV. Now the Magic Remote is compatible with controlling your set-top box. It can even interact with your Xbox and your PlayStations, which is really awesome. But anyway, one of the parts that you have to go through on setup here is how are you gonna be using it? Cable, satellite connected, I'm not sure why it's on there twice. Antenna, none. I'm just putting none because this isn't gonna be using any of that. At home, I'll actually be setting it up to be able to control my satellite box, which is nice. So you'll see here, I have to tell it how I'm gonna be mounting it. Now I'm gonna have to go through this setup again when I get it home because it's gonna be wall mounted. The reason why it's having you say if it's on the stand or wall mounted is the fact that the speakers that are built into this are 2.2 channel, 40 watt down-firing speakers that also support Dolby Atmos. So it has to know how much, is it against a wall or is there some space? Because the A7 Gen 5 AI processor in here is able to dynamically upscale the audio from a 2-channel to a 5.1.2 channel output. So if you're using the TV speakers, it's gonna use AI to basically kind of know what the genre is that you're watching, know the way that it's mounted. It's gonna change things like the color picture profile. It's gonna change tone mapping to give it the most lifelike image and sound possible. And it's doing that through AI. And this is my very first AI TV. So I'm pretty excited for this one. So right now I'm gonna put it on stand because that's what we're using. And here's that AI Picture Pro and AI Sound Pro that I was just talking about. So it's playing some sound right now. That way you can hear the difference as you toggle it. And it's showing the static image here, which has some pretty contrast, some blue, some white, skin tones, green tones with the grass. That way you can see how it changes. So AI Picture Pro. So what this is basically doing is it's using AI to identify this is a face and this is text, and it starts to enhance that image based on what it sees on the screen. And because of the fact that the A7 Gen 5 AI, which is kind of fun to say, is so advanced in this TV, it does it very quickly and you don't even notice that it's happening. So you can, this is a preference thing though, you can turn this on or off. So you may be able to see right now on camera, it's very soft. But by doing AI Picture Pro, you can see it's gonna sharpen up the face. and it sharpens up the text. So this is more of a preference thing, and let's see what it does with the sound. You won't be able to tell based on my lavalier mic, but I'll be able to tell in person. Yeah, it's definitely got a larger sound stage when you turn it on. And that's part of that 2-channel upscaling to the 5.1.2. So I'm gonna leave that all on for now. I'll personally be using a soundbar with this. Keep in mind too, you see if you're using the feet, there's not a lot of room directly underneath the TV to slide a soundbar underneath. So unless you're using a very low profile soundbar, you may not be able to fit it directly underneath your TV. So that's something you need to keep in mind. You might have to actually get a wall mount or a clamp mount for the top of your TV to put the soundbar on top of it, and then you have to go into your soundbar settings, and most soundbars these days ask you, is it below the TV or above the TV? That way it knows how to sort of bounce the sound. All right, enough talking. Let's get it all working so now we can look at the image, because using the TV is one thing. When you're actually sitting there watching it, the picture is king. This is the original like 1970s Mission Impossible TV show, and what we're showing you right now, Phil and I were both watching this off camera, is how insane the A7 Gen 5 AI processor is at actually upscaling and sharpening this. I guarantee no one has seen this show look this sharp ever, because this would have existed obviously during like CRTs. Look at that. I wish I could pause it, but I can't. It's live TV. Whatever. Look how sharp that is right there. That's my first time seeing anything AI in a TV, and I'm sold. But you know what? There's something else we need to take a look at here, obviously. How does it perform as a computer monitor? Because your own suggestions have said, Jay, TVs these days are so good at being monitors, you have to take a look at it. So that's what we are going to do next. So I have a computer hooked up to it right now. There are 2 HDMI ports in the back that are 4K 120 Hertz. A lot of the times you'd find only one HDMI that gives you like 4K 30 or 4K 60. You have 2 on here that does 4K 120. And remember I talked about the first boot is slow because it's first turning on, that goes into this kind of a low power state, sleep state. Look how fast it turns on right now. I just pushed the button, there we go, we're up and running. Goes right to WebOS, which is what I absolutely love about it. See how it even detected it was a PC. Is it gonna switch to it? No, it's not. HDMI 3, which is where I plugged it in, is a PC. How does it know it's a PC? I don't know. TVs normally are just saying, send me a signal and I'll display it. It's talking. It knows it's a TV or a PC now. Before we get into the PC though, I wanna show you all these icons that are here. These are pre-installed apps, and really the most common apps, but you can customize all of the dashboard to be just the stuff that you use. It takes some time to set up, but you can save a profile and have everything show up exactly as you want. It also has AirPlay. AirPlay, none of my other LG TVs that I have, they're a few older generations, have AirPlay. Like I currently have a B6P OLED and a C9 OLED, but AirPlay doesn't exist on them. So this is now nice. If you want to stream something directly from your phone to your TV, as long as they're on the same wireless network, then you can do it. Anyway, let's go to the PC here. To provide an optimized picture quality, the Ultra HD Deep Color will be turned on for the current HDMI port. While applying the settings, picture or sound may not work properly. Dude, that is so sharp. So it's showing 3840 by 2160 native or 4K by 2K. Remember, 4096 by 2160 is the true 4K, but the PC 4K is a little different. So we're getting 60 Hertz there. However, if we scroll down out of the Ultra HD, HD, and SD and come down to PC resolutions, which are way down here, and we go to 3840 by 2160, then the 120 Hertz pops up, hit apply. Oh, that's so good. I've never experienced this on a TV. I've experienced it on large format gaming monitors, 65 Hertz being the biggest. It's a 75, so 75 is bigger than 65, therefore big. If anything's taught me anything, bigger is better. There is no input lag at all, at all. Phil is sensitive to this stuff. Phil, you do it.
Can I just use this as my monitor?
No, it's going to my bedroom. You know, there's only one way to truly test if this monitor has any sort of input lag. Rocket League. If anyone has ever played Rocket League or plays Rocket League religiously, you'll know how important input lag is. And the lack of it here is actually pretty impressive. Like, I would know right away if input lag was something that I was dealing with here. The only input lag I'm experiencing right now is my own brain lag. Darn it. It's so big. It's like a life-size car. Sucks, don't it?
Whoa, that looked good too.
Next goal wins.
Wow.
Just insult to injury. The 75 QNED 85 made me a better Rocket League player. That didn't happen. In terms of being a gaming monitor, that's fine. But we're gonna talk about picture quality now. It is a 4K 120 hertz gaming monitor. 75 inch, available all the way down to 55 inch. If you don't want a full 75 inches, the 55 inch would make an awesome desk monitor because you could break it up into 4 basically 180p or 1080p panels if you wanted, which would be pretty neat in terms of having sizing layout on your screen with the pixel sharpness of 4K. However, the picture quality and the NanoCell Plus technology with the mini LED backlighting now making its way to a TV at a very affordable price point. By the way, before I move forward, if you think that something like this would be far too expensive to ever consider as being used as a monitor, there's a link in the description where you guys can go and check out the price. And I'm putting a link down there because pricing is always changing and stuff. You would be shocked as to how affordable this TV slash monitor is. I'm saying slash monitor now because I used to hold those two in completely different categories that never overlapped. That has all changed entirely. You'd be surprised. I will tell you, this is actually cheaper than the small, like 32 inch, or I think it's 32 or 34 inch 4K mini LED panel that is sitting on my desk as we speak. Cheaper. Anyway, moving on. They've got this really neat demo that kind of displays what different lighting technology looks like. So that would be an edge light right there, an LED edge light. And what would happen is they would basically be around the entire panel or shining up from one side depending how it's arranged. These give you flashlight effects, which means that in the corners where it turns, it's brighter in the corners because there's more of a contrast of them there. So you'd get brightness in the corners, maybe some blotchiness because edge light is also a reflector. So it's gonna be edge lighting across the back of the panel, and then there's like a foil reflector that turns it and sends the light through the pixel gates and the nanocell layer, which then gives you kind of an uneven lighting effect. So then what they ended up doing was coming out with what they call full array LED, which means the entire back of the screen would have LEDs pointing at you. What that allowed you to be able to do was have what's called local dimming zones. Or having more LEDs, or in this case mini LEDs, giving you a higher density of light means that you can have more local dimming zones, giving you more precise lighting control. So things that like are over here, or maybe in a dark scene, they could lower the brightness of those LEDs, and then if you had white text or whatever sitting right here, you could have those LEDs around it be brighter. The problem is, look at the spacing and the gap between them. That then means you're gonna have this kind of a haloing effect around the bright areas because the LEDs that are maybe closer to the edge still have to backlight that area, but then you have some light bleed around it. Moving forward now into mini LED, that is how many lights we now have in the back of the panel, essentially. I mean, this is a kind of a simplified version of it. But each one of these mini LEDs belong to a local dimming zone group, and more groups means more control of the backlighting, giving you better dimming control. Look at the text up there. In the corner, on a more standard full array backlight without a mini LED, you would have haloing around that white text. It doesn't exist because of the pure amount of mini LEDs that are in the back of this panel. Massive amount of brightness. Look at the sharpness of this. That is absolutely insane. Look at the contrast ratio. Look at the solid booster fire right there next to the black sky. That is completely bonkers. You're not getting haloing. You got the space shuttle, which is obviously not as bright, right next to the black sky, and it's a perfect gradient. That is why HDR is so exciting when it comes to like content consumption, watching 4K movies, whether it be live stream. This is a YouTube video, and it looks this good. The amount of detail is absolutely insane. Look at this. You guys can go and watch this video yourself on LG Global channel on YouTube to see how it looks on your screens. I mean, reality is, the quantum dot stuff like they're showing here gives you an amazing, and that nanocell layer, the nanocell plus layer, is what's giving you those bright, vibrant colors. And then we also have, like I said, the A7 Gen 5 AI enhancement and color tone mapping and stuff that's taking place in real time using AI screen monitoring. It's basically looking at what the content is on the screen, and then it's intelligently adjusting it like we showed you with the old content, with the old Mission Impossible scene, how it made it look like something that was filmed today. 40 some odd year old show that the AI was able to make look new. And Phil and I were just like, normally it takes it and makes it look like just an ugly mess, like that kind of upscaling stuff, but it looked so good. But the Quantum Dot with the NanoCell Plus, with the mini LED backlight is giving you, look, I don't want to compare it to OLED because they're two completely different types of technology, but I feel like this is as close as you could possibly get to the contrast ratio and color, the vibrance and accuracy of an OLED, but without having to pay that kind of pricing. Make no quarrel about it. This is a high-end TV that doesn't carry a high-end price. And all it ever took for me to ever consider a TV as a monitor is to have zero input lag for PCs. And that exists today. Let's take a look at one more video that they've got here. HDR is what's giving you those God rays that look that good, but with the details still in the dark scenes behind it. They show this stump up close. Look at this detail. But again, because of the AI sharpening and such taking place on the panel, it is kind of giving you back what streaming kind of took away. The HDR right there with the direct sunlight on the foliage with the shadows over here. Oh, it's so good. And you can also have that level of it's so good as your PC monitor. Anyway, you guys told me, Jay, you should really take a look at some of the TVs that are available today as gaming monitors. I'm gonna tell you right now, the 75 QNED 85, I had full intents and purposes of just using it as my bedroom TV, which it's still gonna be, but now I'm looking at this going, do I wanna get a 55 inch and use that now on our test bench? Because you guys might have noticed we're using a big format monitor, but the problem is I only have like one input on that. But now having multiple inputs on something like this would make an amazing test bench monitor so that we can have things always hooked up to it with different cables and be able to like switch between systems back and forth without having to unplug and plug back. It would actually just be so beneficial in so many different ways. Anyway, huge thanks once again to LG for sending us this panel to take a look at. They told us like, hey, we feel like the QNED might be something you're interested in. I was a little bit kind of like, at first I wasn't sure. I'm totally sold on it right now. And this is coming from an OLED snob. I am absolutely an OLED snob, but I would put a QNED panel in any room of my house any day. The glare on it, not bad at all, but you are getting the punchiness of the colors, the accuracy of the colors, you're getting a massive amount of local dimming because of the mini LEDs. It's a great time to be an AV enthusiast, because here's the thing, you could buy this for cheaper than a 4090.